Hi. Welcome back. My name is Claire. Today I'm going to be talking to you about stinging nettle. Urtica dioica is the Latin binomial, and it just means that there are plants which are male and plants which are female. So in this talk, I'm going to talk a lot about a couple concepts: boundaries, convalescence, and agency. I'm going to talk a little bit about, as usual, the physiological aspects that this plant does in the human body. And then, yeah, I'm going to have a little bit of a call to action at the end of this video as well, just so that you guys can communicate with me and we can like be less strangers, because this whole like, we're not having a conversation, but we're like kind of having a conversation thing is like sometimes a little bit weird to me. But anyways, let's get into it. So, nettle medicine, I associate it with the Four of Pentacles. Yeah, I associate it with protection. I associate it with holding space for yourself. I really associate it with this sort of getting to the core of an issue. This is from the Hush Tarot. And really sort of concentrating on what it is that you are most keen to protect. You know, the bones of whatever it was have emerged from the flesh that has dripped away, which is like a disgusting sentence. But yeah, it really is just coming back down to like that core of like what is important to you, what are the underlying structures to you, what it is that you want to go after and pursue and fight for. Again, Mars energy. I also really like this card because last time I was harvesting nettle, I found a dead body, and much to my roommate's chagrin, I decided to bring it home. So I'm actually going to show you the skull because it's super beautiful. I have named her Jane Doe because it was a doe. And it's like so beautiful. I was just finishing up my harvest. You know, I was going to my car and I noticed there was like a new little sort of patch of forest that I'd never seen before, which was weird because I spent a lot of time in this forest. So I decided to go over and just kind of like take a look, and literally like looked over and like made eye contact with this skeleton, and yeah, felt really significant. So I just wanted to like share that with you guys because I feel there's a lot of layers to it. So yeah, like I said, I have spent a lot of time in that particular patch of forest. I want to tell you guys a little bit of a story about why I love that for me and why I love it for you. So there was a season when I was in herb school, and for about 2 or 3 years I was living with like exclusively men. I had like 3 male roommates at the time, and it was like a lot. I love men, I do. I think men are the coolest, but you know, like we do live in a patriarchal society, and I was one girl and there was 3 guys, and it was sometimes just like a lot. Okay, like it was just sometimes I just needed to get away. And so the nettle patch is kind of what became my sacred space. It was where I would go to decompress, and where I went to like hold space for myself and like reconnect to like my femme side. I kind of wanted to share this with you guys for a couple of reasons, because we are going to talk about boundaries, obviously, but I also found something really interesting when I was doing my research that said that nettle has compounds in it which make the transformation of aldosterone into testosterone like stop. So it keeps aldosterone and not turn into testosterone. I just think it's really interesting. You know, it's like I was in the season where I was like surrounded by a whole bunch of testosterone and I wanted it to stop, and like I would go to the nettle patch, and it's just like interesting to me. It's like plants just seem to find us when we need them, I think. So there's that. That relationship to testosterone as well makes it a really helpful therapeutic for people with prostates who have BPH, so that's benign prostatic hyperplasia. It's specifically the root that we use therapeutically in this regard, and you want to be using the root over an extended period of time, but you will experience an alleviation of symptoms for that specific condition. I also want to talk about allergies with this plant while I'm talking about committing to working with it over a long period of time. It's a really awesome anti-allergic plant, but this is something that you want to be using like over an extended period of time. So if you know that your hay fever season is in like February, March, you want to be like taking the herb 6 months before that consistently every single day leading up to it. It's not something that you can take when you're having like an allergy attack. It's not going to have the same effect. And the reason that it's really good in this way as like a long-term therapeutic commitment is it does something to stabilize the mast cells so they don't release their histamine. So it's pretty amazing. So people who work with nettle over an extended period of time do experience pretty amazing symptom management. It combines really well with Scutellaria bicalensis in this way. So do check that out if allergies are like a very big thing that disrupts your life. Just want to empower you to do that. Moving out of that and more into sort of back into the nettle patch, back into the woods where I'm finding bones and, you know, exploring my femininity as I was in that period, because I was also painting a lot of like vulvas and like yonis, and it was like kind of intense. But if you've ever met nettle growing in the wild, it's really interesting actually. And I'm a firm believer that you can tell a lot about a plant by the way that it grows, by the way that it sort of takes over. And nettle will come into places that have been disturbed by human interference, often places where there's been a fire or construction or people have dumped stuff oftentimes. This is where nettle will come in, and it'll come in and it'll grow up and out, and it will take over sort of the entire patch of land as if to protect it, as if to restore it. And it really does do this. So, you know, Four of Pentacles, taking back over, holding space. And if you've ever tried to harvest nettle without gloves, you know that it will sting you. This is my safety disclaimer as well, that this plant is safe for everyone except for people who have an allergy to these stings. There is a known allergy. Otherwise, this is a very safe plant for everyone. So, you know, there's really no reason to not go out and use it. But my personal practice in recent years has actually been to harvest nettle without gloves. This isn't an endorsement, don't take it that way, but it is because my relationship with this plant has been about when I'm harvesting it, I've noticed when I'm really present with the plant, when I'm really like, thank you, you know, like when I'm grateful for the medicine that I'm receiving from this plant, when I'm able to connect and be present in the moment and honor the plant for the fact that it's healing me, it's healing my clients, it's healing my friends, it's healing whoever it is that I'm giving it to. I find that this plant won't actually sting me. The plant will honor me right back. It'll be aware of the fact that I am paying attention. And I think plants are pretty magical in that way. And I think nettle is pretty magical in the regard of like knowing the energetic interface and the energetic exchange that is happening between two people. So we have now arrived at the portion of this talk where I'm going to dissect a little bit about boundaries, because I do believe the boundaries are so vital. I'm a really big fan of boundaries. I'm sure you guys have noticed. But one thing that I really want to sort of articulate, and I want us to think very critically about this, is that boundaries are there not only to protect us from outcoming energies that are coming in, but to protect others from our energy as well, so that we can be really aware of like what we're bringing to the table, what we're bringing to the dynamic. And I know in my last pick of cards, some people like didn't like the fact that I was like, sometimes you can be toxic. Okay, everybody, every single human being who you have ever loved, every single human being who has had an impact on human history was still a human being. They were still having toxic behaviors and they still had a shadow. And when we deny our shadow, we really do limit our ability to do good, because, you know, in knowing our power to do harm, there's a lot of strength in that, I think. And I think if we're able to identify that side of the coin, the flip side becomes, well, if I can do that much bad, how much good can I do? Carolyn Miss put this really well. I will put her TED Talk down in the description box below, but she said, I choose not to share I make the decision to pass on not my suffering, but my wisdom. So I just want, when you're thinking of nettle, I want you to think of boundaries. And when you are thinking of boundaries, I want you to be thinking of agency. I want you to be thinking about the fact that, yes, your shit do stink, but that doesn't mean that you have to be toxic to other people, that there is choice. And that this plant, I feel like, is a really, really good ally to help us integrate gratitude for choice and for that agency piece where, you know, what we do matters, basically. We're in like such a pivotal, you know, year 2020. Everything is kind of crumbling down. So reconnecting to those bones, reconnecting to what is important underneath all of it, and having a backup plan, knowing what it is that we want to fight for, and knowing that we can find resolution, we can find restorative justice without causing harm. Really into restorative justice right now, as an aside. But anyways, we're gonna segue out of that. So yes, boundary medicine, really, really good for that energetically. And really, really just delicious. It's like a really yummy tea. I also want to talk about this concept of convalescence. This is gonna be a little bit of a, you know, we don't really have a concept of convalescence in Western culture. There isn't really a concept of like, I need time to heal. You know, I need time to recover. I need time to get back into myself. I need time to give the body space. You know, in our Western culture and sort of patriarchal, hierarchical culture, there is a dialogue everywhere, from the workplace to the media to, I don't know, it's everywhere. Oftentimes even in our personal relationships, about what we're able to achieve and produce and be a part, like a cog in the wheel that determines our worth. And not just our worth as an employee or as a part of that, but our worth as a human being. Now, I don't like that, and neither should you. And if you have a hard time being still, I really would like you to, I'm wearing my Eat the Rich shirt today because this is such a key thing that I would really, really invite you to engage with critically, is thinking about how easy is it to be still? How easy is it to take up space? Do you feel like you're doing something wrong when you're being peaceful? Do you feel like you are at odds with yourself? And where do those storylines come from? Because I really want to be super clear. That dialogue that capitalism tries to tell us about our worth being tied to our productivity is total bullshit, and that your worth as a human being is tied to the fact that you are a human being. There's nothing you could do to make yourself more worthy of rest. You exist, and that is enough. You are enough. I want you to think about those things, and I want you to feel empowered to call on nettle when you need to be carving out space for yourself, to be enough. This is a fantastic ally for integrating these lessons and for integrating the fact that we all go into seasons where it is uncomfortable to set those boundaries. I'm gonna wrap up this video by talking just a little bit about some of the compounds in this plant which make it really delicious in this way. It is the highest level of plant protein that we know of. You know, there is so few plants out there that have the sort of same medicinal action that nettle does, that has like protein in it. It's also got a really high level of iron in it, which makes it a really good choice for anyone who doesn't eat meat. It's also got vitamin C in it, so there's like a nice relationship with the iron and the vitamin C. Everything gets absorbed in a nice way. Good absorption, combines really well with borage in this way. That video is up on my channel, check it out. And it can really, again, be a juice up, you know, like when you're healing, when you need something else to just come in and like support your system. It's a fantastic nutritive tonic. So it's great as a cooking herb this way. You don't have to just have it as a tea. You don't have to have it as a tincture. nettle pesto is the shit. Do yourself a favor and get yourself some nettle pesto, because it's really an experience that I think everyone should have. And I do think I'll actually kind of leave it at that. I know this video went on a little bit longer than usual, but I do want to put out a call to action for you guys as well. I do really want to invite you to get in the comment section if you feel safe to do so, but I really want to hear your stories about what convalescence has meant for you. I really want to hear about what has been going on for you in your lives when you knew that you needed time away, when you knew that you needed to rest and heal and recover. And I want to know what it was that was going on for you in those times. And I also want to know what it was that you would have wanted to support you. I really want to start this conversation, and you know, if it doesn't feel safe to do so in the comments, feel free to email me as well. All of my information is in the description box down below at markedbyawitch.com as well. I'm available for readings right now, guys. I am also available for herbal consultations, and all sorts of other fun stuff. So thank you so much for tuning in. I really do appreciate it. I appreciate every like and every subscribe. You guys are lit. And I'm sending you so much love. So I will see you next time. Stay safe, stay sane. Okay, bye.